Neville Goddard. Unlocking the Power of Imagination, a Journey into Conscious Creation. Welcome to Introspect ZA, where ancient wisdom meets modern insight. In this video, we're diving deep into the timeless and transformational teachings of Neville Goddard, a mystic and metaphysical thinker whose message has inspired thousands to awaken to the power within. Neville's work is not about passive spirituality. It's about taking radical ownership of your life. It's about realizing that you are the operant power, the creator of your reality through the imaginative and emotional faculties of your own mind. In the next 2,000 words, we'll explore the profound principles Neville taught, like the law of assumption, living in the end, revision, and the true nature of God as your own wonderful human imagination. Whether you're new to his work or already on the path of conscious creation, this journey is designed to inspire and empower you. So sit back, relax, and let's begin this deep dive into the life-changing teachings of Neville Goddard. Who is Neville Goddard? Neville Goddard was born in Barbados in 1905 and later moved to New York City, where he studied esoteric Christianity and metaphysics. He wasn't a preacher or a religious leader in the traditional sense. He was a visionary, a man deeply committed to understanding the connection between consciousness and reality. Over the span of several decades, Neville gave countless lectures and authored multiple books, including Feeling is the Secret, The Power of Awareness, Awakened Imagination, and Out of This World. Each of these works offers clear, direct guidance on how to tap into your creative potential using imagination, emotion, and belief. What sets Neville apart is that he didn't speak in abstract theory. He provided practical tools to apply spiritual principles in everyday life. His core message can be summed up like this: your imagination is God, and what you imagine with feeling becomes your reality. Imagination is God. At the heart of Neville's teachings is a radical redefinition of God, not as a distant deity or external force, but as your own imagination. This might sound controversial at first, especially to those raised in traditional religious systems. But Neville pointed out that the Bible, when read symbolically rather than literally, consistently points to this truth. When Scripture says, "Be still and know that I am God," Neville asks us to consider what the I am really is. To him, it is the sense of being, the awareness of self, the consciousness that says, "I am." In his words, God is your own wonderful human imagination. That is God. Think about this. Every invention, every work of art, every building, every life transformation begins first in the realm of imagination. Before something can exist in the physical world, it must first exist as an idea, a vision, or a feeling. To Neville, this was evidence that imagination is the creative force behind everything. The law of assumption. One of Neville's most empowering teachings is the law of assumption. This principle states that whatever you assume to be true becomes your reality. It's not about hoping or wishing, it's about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and living from that state. Neville didn't ask people to beg or plead with the universe. Instead, he encouraged them to take on the role of the creator and ask themselves, what would I feel, think, and believe if I already had what I desire? When you consistently dwell in that assumption, with faith, repetition, and emotion, you begin to see the world rearrange itself to match your internal state. For example, let's say you desire a new job. Instead of thinking, I hope I get this job, you begin to assume, I already have the job. I love it. I feel fulfilled, respected, and well compensated. You visualize yourself waking up and getting ready for work, receiving your paycheck, and thriving in your role. You feel it, believe it, and live from it internally, until your outer world reflects that assumption. As Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continue feeling that it is fulfilled until that which you feel objectifies itself. Feeling is the secret. Thoughts are powerful, but in Neville's teachings, feeling is the secret. It is the emotional tone, the inner atmosphere, that impresses the subconscious mind and leads to manifestation. In his book of the same name, Feeling is the Secret, Neville outlines how the subconscious mind is the creative engine of our lives, but it doesn't respond to logic or reasoning. It responds to what you feel to be true. This is why affirmations alone are often ineffective. If they are said without emotion or belief, they remain on the surface. But when you say or visualize something with genuine emotion, joy, gratitude, relief, love, then it sinks in and begins to change your internal programming. So instead of saying, "I am wealthy" over and over again without emotion, Neville would urge you to feel what it would be like to be financially free, to walk through the world with that inner sense of security and abundance. To quote Neville again, "The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself." The state akin to sleep. One of Neville's most powerful techniques is known as the state akin to sleep, often referred to as SATS by modern students of his work. This is the drowsy, relaxed state you enter right before falling asleep. In this state, the conscious mind is subdued and the subconscious becomes more receptive. Neville believed this was the ideal time to implant new beliefs, visualizations, and assumptions. In this deeply relaxed state, you can more easily bypass the critical mind and speak directly to the subconscious. He advised that before going to bed, you should visualize a scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. For instance, if you want to manifest a relationship, you might imagine holding your partner's hand or hearing them say, "I love you." Replay that scene until you fall asleep, sinking into the feeling of it being real. Night after night, this practice can reshape your self-concept and lead to profound external changes. Revision, the power to rewrite the past. Another advanced yet highly transformative concept Neville taught is revision. It involves mentally revisiting a past event and changing it in imagination. At first, this may seem illogical. How can changing the past in your mind alter your current reality? Neville explains that the past, present, and future are all part of the same continuum. And since our perception of the past shapes how we feel and act in the present, changing it internally can change everything. Let's say you had a difficult conversation with someone. Instead of replaying the scene and reliving the pain, you mentally revise it. You imagine that the conversation went peacefully. You hear them say something kind instead. You feel love instead of anger. Over time, this changes your emotional response and frees you from repeating negative patterns. Some people have even reported that when they revised the past consistently, the other person began treating them differently in real life, as if the past had truly changed. Neville said, "Change the feeling of the I, and you will automatically change the events of your life." Living in the end. Living in the end is about mentally and emotionally residing in the place where your desire is already fulfilled. It's not about hoping something will happen. It's about embodying the version of yourself who already has it. If your goal is healing, then you must stop identifying as sick or trying to heal. Instead, you feel and believe you are already whole and healthy. You visualize yourself doing things you love with ease, filled with energy and wellness. Neville taught that when you live in the end state consistently, the means to fulfill that state naturally unfold. You don't need to worry about how it will happen. Just stay faithful to the assumption that it has already happened. Your assumption, to be effective, cannot be a single isolated act. It must be a maintained attitude of the wish fulfilled. Consciousness is the only reality. Perhaps Neville's most mind-expanding concept is the idea that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see, feel, and experience is a projection of your internal state of awareness. He believed that the world was not something outside of you to be manipulated, but a reflection of what you are doing inside your own mind. To change the world, you must change yourself, not through effort or struggle, but through inner transformation. This puts the power and the responsibility squarely in your hands. You are not at the mercy of fate or chance. You are the cause of your own experience. This is why Neville repeatedly said, "You are the operant power, not your environment, not the economy, not other people, you." Practical application. How to apply Neville's teachings. Let's recap Neville's main practices in a practical, usable way. Imagination. Spend time daily imagining scenes that imply your wish is fulfilled. Feeling. Attach deep, authentic emotion to your imagined scenes. SATs. State akin to sleep. Use the drowsy pre-sleep state to impress your subconscious with your new reality. Revision. Rewrite the past to align your emotions and beliefs with your ideal self. Living in the end. Walk, talk, think, and feel like the person who already has what they desire. Assume boldly. Adopt the assumption that what you want is already yours, and persist in that assumption. These practices, when done consistently and with faith, can shift your inner world, and with it, your entire life. You are the power. Neville Goddard's message is timeless because it reminds us of something we often forget. We are not separate from the divine, we are expressions of it. You are not a passive observer of life. You are a conscious creator. So the next time you face a challenge, remember, you are not bound by circumstances. You have the power to imagine something greater, to feel it is real, and to live from that place until the world catches up to your vision. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the mind and message of Neville Goddard. If you found this video enlightening, share your thoughts in the comments and let us know how Neville's work has influenced your life. And if you're ready to deepen your journey into consciousness, manifestation, and spiritual mastery, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until next time, imagine boldly, feel deeply, and create consciously.